The Voluntary Reaction. As soon as the UT game is over, tune in to Fan Run Radio's post-game free-for-all, featuring instant analysis from your favorite Fan Run radio hosts and your phone calls. All the joy, all the rage, all the passion. Win or lose, it's must-hear radio. The Voluntary Reaction. Raw, unfiltered, real.
We really need to get some branded stuff. Shirts, hats, promo items, something professional.
I mean, we could just find a website and order a bunch of it ourselves.
You could, but you're taking a big risk. You don't know the quality, the fit, the timeline. It's a roll of the dice.
Yeah, I guess, but isn't that how everyone does it now?
Not the ones who actually care about how their brand looks. Look, if we're putting our name on it, it needs to be done right. We need SM Athletics.
SM Athletics?
Yeah, they specialize in working with businesses like ours. Apparel, hats, promo gear, but real, customized stuff. They actually care if it turns out right.
Probably a lot better than getting stuck with 100 t-shirts with crooked logos.
Exactly. Plus, they'll walk you through everything. Sizing, colors, material, so it matches the image we're trying to build.
Makes sense. What's the name again?
SM Athletics. Trust me, if you want to look like a real company, not a flea market stand, this is the move. If you're serious about your brand, work with people who are serious about getting it right. SM Athletics.
The Voluntary Reaction.
This football season, tune in to Big Orange Country's post-game radio free-for-all, The Voluntary Reaction, presented by the Griffin Law Firm. We'll be live on the Fan Run Radio app as soon as every UT game is over, taking your calls and breaking down the game to levels that can only be described as beyond scientific. So tune in and drink with us from the keg of glory, or drown in the pool of despair. The Voluntary Reaction on Fan Run Radio.
The Voluntary Reaction. Raw, unfiltered, real.
Well, where to begin?
I don't know. Are you doing all right, big guy?
I'm doing fine. Russ is going to owe me big.
Come in here and do the post-mortem on this one.
Yeah, this is a hell of a one to sit out. But, yeah, you found us if you're wanting to listen to some post-game analysis of Tennessee against Florida. It's the Voluntary Reaction. Bob Baskerville filling in for Russell Smith. Russell's got some other commitments.
Coach Russell
doing that stuff, and I've been there before, so I get it. And he's, I promise you, having a much better time than we're going to have. But we're here to talk through it, of course, as always. Man, all I can say, and then we'll say hello to the rest of the gang, is this one started to look promising, right? It was 26-all late in the first half. Then things got sideways, and it went downhill fast. Florida goes on a 15-2 run. Closing out that first half, they have a 13-point lead at halftime. I even said at halftime, okay, we got a 5-minute window in that second half. If we're going to get this thing straightened out, we have to do it there. Well, it only went downhill from there. Matter of fact, the second half, I saw moments where the Vols uncharacteristically looked like they had lost their heart. And I don't want to say they quit or gave up, but, man, they looked overwhelmed at times. And, look, I'll say this. A loss can't be a surprise to any of us. Not on the road. We've talked about Florida, defending national champs. They have 5 losses, but it's by a total of 17 points to really good teams. They're due for a breakout. And, of course, it happens here. But to lose this one the way we've lost it, got to admit, it's a little bit concerning as we're just getting going in conference play. With that said, let's say hello to the rest of the gang. Davey Hudson, Bear, Walker Smith, and you who's listening. The phone lines will be open. Area code 865-966-3435, 966-3435. You can hit us up that way. You can hit us up on the live chat on YouTube, on Fan Run TV. You can hit us up on the text box at that same number, 966-3435. With that said, let's say hello to the rest of the gang. Davey Hudson, you with us?
Hey, Bob, boys. We're getting feedback.
Yeah, you're better now.
All right. I'm taking my headphones off real quick. I can't hear myself. Guys, this was pathetic. You look at what happened. The team after the under 4 minute in the first half, it went apart like crazy. I don't know if this team's going to win a road game until the month of February. Our next road win will be our first. We cannot go on the road. This team is not capable of playing well there. It has been pathetic every single time. And unfortunately for the voluntary reactions, we had the Arkansas game, and now we got the Florida game to recap. And it's just not been fun at all.
No, it absolutely hasn't. I want to take a look at the schedule and see how many hard road games fall on Saturdays now, though, since we've got those. Bob, the thing I mentioned to you earlier, my biggest takeaway from today was I really think this was the first game where we truly missed having Jemai Meshack.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would agree.
Boogie.
Yeah. We'll talk about that in a second. But Walker, let's say hello to Walker first, too, and then we'll get into all of this. Walker, you doing all right?
Not really. That was tough. I hate going down there and losing. I hate going down there or ever losing to Florida. But I think I've just come to the conclusion that it might be impossible to beat any good team on the road in this conference this year.
Well, with that kind of effort today, I would say affirmative. There's no doubt. Final score 91-67. Ugh. If you were a wagering person, I thought this thing was going to go under, and it looked like it would at the very beginning, and it ended up kind of crushing the total. So at least at the beginning of the game. Here's the thing. I'm just looking at some of the statistics here. 48% shooting from the field for Florida. This is not a good shooting team, and so and that continues on with the thread we had said where they don't shoot well from three. And
right.
Today they shot 9 of 30, which is an improvement for them, but it's still only 30%. That just tells you, it tells you we got worked underneath, right? We knew this, okay? Two of the best rebounding teams in the country, the top two offensive rebounding teams in the country. It sure felt to me like Tennessee got beat at their own game, because we were saying this was going to be a battle of the front lines. And what you said about Meshack, all I could think about, we always hear this from Barnes, we'd hear it from Coach Polinsky about how we had guys in Zakai and Jemai and others who made the opponent feel uncomfortable. I felt like what we saw today, particularly in the second half of that game, Tennessee looked really, really uncomfortable. And it's like Florida again. It felt like
we got
big
boyed.
Yeah, they beat us at our own game. That's all. And I mean, 41 rebounds to Tennessee's 30. They doubled us up on the offensive boards, 10-5. Here's the thing, man, and boy, for sure. Or actually, now I was looking at a different number here. Bear with me because I'm calling up the end of game stats now that just came up. Compliments of Ryan Shumpert at RTI. 41-30 on total rebounds. Offensive rebounds, it was not 10-5. It was 12-6. The turnovers. We ended up with only 18, which sounds, I'm sitting here saying only 18. We had 12 at halftime. And we ended up finally, in the first half, we had more turnovers than field goals, made field goals. We had 12 turnovers to 8 made field goals. You always talk about turnover to assist ratio. We couldn't even get turnover to field goal ratio right. It ended up getting close. Our field goals, we hit 21 by the end of the game against 18 turnovers. And they converted those turnovers to 30 points.
Yeah.
I mean,
so got us beat, man.
Yeah, there's not many. There's just not many good things to talk about in this game. That's all there is to say about it. We'll talk about Nate Ament later because I think Nate was one of the few bright spots. I thought Nate played pretty well.
Yeah.
But the turnovers, more than anything else, Davey, I gotta say, the turnovers were just unbelievable. And your fellow Dookie, Jay Billis, kept reminding us that on the air. It's like, can you please stop talking about turnovers?
I just want him to stop talking.
Yeah, very, very annoying. But I guess we earned it, too.
We have, real quick, Davey, and we get it out of the way. It's pretty major breaking news.
Yes.
With Tennessee football. Penn State transfer edge Chaz Coleman has committed to Tennessee.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Butch Jones is pulling the strings. The fact that that news comes out right after Tennessee gets their ass absolutely kicked. But no, that is huge. And I will imagine this will turn into hey, we're talking about the transfer portal and football team pretty early on into this show.
Yeah, then we'll be shoving up. But let's get back to the misery.
Yeah. I agree. We've got some positivity to talk about, but let's get back to the basketball for a minute. Davey, you go.
Bob's point, I want to say the 30 points off the turnovers, all of that even happened even before the under 8-minute mark in the second half. So yeah, you go back to it being 26-26 before the under 4 in the first half, and then it just fell apart. And I mean, you mentioned Jay Billis, like he was saying that early and often in the first half. I'll be honest, guys, I watched the second half on mute. I knew it wasn't going to happen as far as like any form of a comeback. Florida, I mean, it's a good team overall, but it looks terrible because they're not ranked. But again, the way Tennessee has just played these games this year, whenever you have a team that might be struggling a little bit and you have an opportunity to kind of take advantage, because like this is a down Florida team and yet they still beat us by 20 points. It's not going to be fun for majority of this conference play, I believe. And I like, as we talked about last week, I'm still expecting a very early exit into March Madness. But to Bob's point, yeah, it's like you had Nate Ament play very well. Too bad nobody else showed up.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's incredibly frustrating the more I think about it. And you know, one of the things, Davey, you might not have heard, we had assistant coach Greg Polinsky on the show on Thursday. And one of the things he said was, watch in this game, because we talked about all the particulars when it comes to Jacoby Gillespie and Thomas Houck on the Florida side, et cetera. But he made the comment of, this is a game where I have a feeling someone will emerge that is maybe a little unexpected and be a difference maker in the game. Well, lo and behold, Exhibit A for Florida, 2 players. Thomas Houck only finished with 13 points, which for him, you know, he averages about 18 a game. Boogie Fland, Jesus Christ. This guy's averaging, so far, 11 points a game for Florida, shooting 38% from the field, 19% from three-point range. Today, listen to this line, boys. 23 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, 9 of 13 from the field, 3 of 6 from three-point range, 4 steals.
I mean, he was 0 for in the last 3 games from 3.
Yeah.
I thought they said in the first half.
GP was right. Unfortunately, it was him and then Ruben Shinyelu. Jesus. 17 points, 16 boards, shot 8 of 12. Just worked our guys underneath, particularly, like you said, Davey, in that last 8-minute window of the game. I mean, it just felt like they were having their way more than ever underneath the hoop.
This might have been the worst game I've seen from JP Estrella in a Vols jersey.
Oh, he was a total liability today. And, I mean, that's evidenced by how many minutes did he only played 10 minutes. He was totally ineffective, man, totally ineffective. Again, looked overwhelmed at times. I don't know, man. It was very tough. Looking at the Tennessee side, Nate Ament led the way, 17 points, 4 rebounds, ended up shooting 5 of 11 from the field, 5 of 6 from the line. Feels like his free throw woes may have been corrected because he shot pretty well at the line in the game against Texas the other night as well. Nate played, and by the way, Nate played with 4 fouls for a good portion of the second half, which I think it's noteworthy only because of 2 things. A, Barnes didn't go by the textbook and pull him, you know, because he hit his 3rd foul with like 17 minutes to go or 15, and it was like, oh no, now he's going to sit till 10. But he stayed in then, and then he took a little breather and came back, got his 4th foul, but stayed in till almost the end of the game. And then Jacoby Gillespie, 12 points, 3 of 10 from the field, 4 turnovers.
I mean, credit Florida, they took him away.
They did. They
held
did.
him
They,
down.
they scouted this well. We know that. That's part of the problem. I mean, we've talked about it before. When it's going well with Jacoby, it's fantastic, but he is the only guy for the most part that can effectively handle the ball. And if they start to apply the pressure, we saw what happened today. Bishop Boswell had the ball in his hands a lot more, and his line at first doesn't look bad. 4 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, couple steals, but 6 turnovers. 6. So, I mean, we just you just can't have somebody who's handling the ball that much. Between him and Jacoby, we had 10 turnovers.
I mean, what else? Is there anything else we can do?
Not really.
Because Berg has been a huge disappointment.
Yeah, Berg got in the final minute. No, man, I mean, Amari Evans, who's been playing really, really well. I don't think he played poorly today, but he had 3 steals, 3 points, 5 boards. Got into some early foul trouble, kind of fell into that trap again. Dwayne Brown, 10 points, 4 rebounds. You kind of get what you get with Dwayne, I think, most times.
If we can get 10 points out of Dwayne Brown every night, then that's pretty good.
Jalen Carey, 12 points, 3 boards, but Carey missed so many underneath.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 3 of 9 from the field, 6 of 9 from the line, which by Jalen Carey standards, that's a pretty good game.
Better than his mean.
So, but there's just not a lot of positives to look at with this game. And again, I am not at all surprised that we went down to Gainesville and lost. I really thought that I think I even said that on our show, saying I think they're going to lose, but I think it should stand to be a close game. I just don't like the fact that we end up losing by 20 plus points. And again, looked like their heart was taken away from them, particularly in the second half, Davey.
Yeah, after you had that, what was it, like a 15-2 run to end out the first half, it was just one of those situations where you're like, this. I just don't see this team having the mental fortitude to be able to battle back, especially against a Florida team that, even though I know their guard play isn't exactly a group that they had last year, but you look at the leadership of that team with Thomas Houck, Ruben Chinyalu, Condon's been around for a good minute, Hanlogden also as well has been with that program for several years now. They're not going to let a team come back once they get a 15-point lead. Like, you're just not going to see that happen. And, looking at the stats for Tennessee in the second half, it's one of those where it's like, I mean, they even kind of, the way in which we were trying to attack at that point, where it was like, we'll just rotate whether Felix Akpar or Jalen Carey just tries to score in the post. It's like at that point, when that's all you're doing, it's the game's over. And they weren't even converting there. All the tip outs too. I mean, Florida did a great job. They really didn't even have that many defensive rebounds for Tennessee early on, because you look at the shot disparity, they were just creating more and more opportunities for themselves. And it was one of those things where you're just like, they're going to hit these shots. Like, it's going to start to fall, and it did. And when that happened, like, the floodgates opened.
Just looking at the text box, somebody puts in here, it's Dustin, who says, look, I get no one played well, but I'm sick and tired of watching Akpara. 27 minutes, 3 points, 1 rebound. Dude is awful, and yet Rick loves him. Yeah, it was a bad game. I'm not that harsh on Felix, but today he got worked, man. It was really obvious.
He didn't have his best game, and I mean, the problem is, there were several times I'm continue to be a little surprised. Maybe it's because he's been so banged up, but I really thought that Estrella was going to be a lot more control. He seems to lose rebounds. He gets outworked. He had the hook and hold.
Yeah.
Well, this is supposed to be a game where the physicality, if you're a Tennessee fan going into it, you're like, hey, that's actually plays to our strengths whenever you look at how Rick Barnes wants to, have his teams play defense. I mean, giving up 91 points. I'm trying to think of the last time we let that happen. Obviously, that's the most points given up by this year's team, but that's just not Rick Barnes' ball. Like, I mean, it's just pathetic that a team is able to get 91 points up against you based off how you play the game. And, they met Tennessee in the paint and gave them everything they wanted. And it's like, I've watched Florida some this year, and this looks like this was their best game of the season.
Definitely. I would agree. I mean, because of all the turnovers, and also, they had a 14-6 edge in second chance points because of what they did on the offensive glass. I mean, those two things combined, they had 15 more field goal attempts than us, too. I mean, all this stuff. I mean, anywhere you look within this stat sheet, it's very, very tough to find anything that ended up positive. As a matter of fact, Tennessee was shooting pretty well at the line. They ended up shooting 19 of 29, so they started falling there as well, 66% from the line. I just, Florida's entire starting five was in double figures. We talked about Fland and Chenyalu, and Houck had 13, but then Condon had 11 points, 7 boards, 3 assists. Nice game from him. Xavier and Lee, 10 points. And then Urban Klavchar, who is all he does is come in to shoot, and we let him shoot. He was 3 of 9 from three-point range. He ended up with 15 points himself. I mean, we just got handled in every measure, man. And it does, I look at it this way from the standpoint of we go into next week, and Walker said it. I think winning on the road in the SEC, it's just like last year. It's going to be hard as hell. There's no doubt about it. That said, we can't go 0-9 on the road in SEC. It's like there's got and this was one that we knew was going to be an interesting barometer for this team. I'm not entirely surprised, sorry to say, that we came out and we're 1-2 in our first 3 games. All's not lost. We still got a lot of games left, but man, our ability to even make a run in this game on the road, it just was non-existent. I don't know, man. It's pretty frustrating to say the least. Let us know what you think. Again, phone lines are open. Area code 865-966-3435. Got a couple notes here on the live chat from Chad Morris, who says JP is weak. Felix is weak. Brown is too big not to be able to get his spot to score our guards. To score. Sorry, a lot of run-ons here. Our guards never shoot. I don't understand. They enjoy passing the ball and then turning it over. Today, totally agree. I mean, honestly, the turnovers have been a bit of a season-long epidemic, right? I mean, it
was insane today.
Yeah.
And I think because they were scoring so many points off of them that it just made it even worse. But, yeah, we've had trouble all year, man.
Yeah.
We've talked about Coach Barnes being upset about it numerous times.
As to our guards, I don't really think you have anybody outside of Gillespie that's actually able to shoot where they're not set to begin with. Like you look at Chaz, you look at DK over the last couple of years, they've been able to take the ball coming off of screens and knock it down. You don't really have anybody you kind of have to just hit them right in the spot as far as setting them up and then let them pull it. But it's not a good shooting team overall either. So that's going to be a problem, especially whenever you can't do anything down low.
Yeah. It's exciting. Chad also said the Vols traveled expecting to lose and played to lose. What a pathetic performance. I don't know if they expected to lose, but boy, again, what I saw in the second half is it's so uncharacteristic of a Barnes team. This has been the part of this season so far that's really frustrated the hell out of me is they always preach on this coaching staff they need to control the controllables. Is that the term they always use? Turnovers, free throw shooting. It's like we're bad at all of it right now in those regards. Rebounding today, notwithstanding, we're typically really strong and pretty solid in the paint. And you every once in a while get a game from Jacoby Gillespie where he's a blowtorch from 3 like he was Tuesday night against Texas. Those things happen, but then there's the easy parts of it, the easier parts of it, and it feels like we're shitting the bed every single time when it comes to taking care of the ball and also taking advantage of free throws. I mean, that puts you at a decided disadvantage right off the bat.
I mean, you mentioned the runs. I would say our biggest run was probably the 5-0 run by Ament to start the game.
Yeah.
I mean, I was feeling pretty good when even when it got to 26-26, I felt like, we were going to be – I still didn't feel like we were probably going to win just because it was down there. But I didn't think we were going to get embarrassed like this.
Yeah, I thought it'd be a battle.
We got our damn pants pulled down.
Yeah.
God.
Very frustrating. I'm just looking at the schedule because, again, we're talking about there's 7 more road games in SEC play for this team.
List them off for us.
Because right now we're 0-2 on the road. Let's talk about this. Our next road game comes 2 weeks from today. Tuscaloosa.
Place where we've never had a whole lot of, we have recently, but
Little shop of horrors for
yeah.
sure. And then Tuesday the 27th at Georgia. Feels like it's Stegman. We never played great there.
No,
either.
it's a strange
last time
gym.
we played there?
A couple of years ago, we've
been a little bit.
we've won. I think we won the last 2 times we were down there.
I will say, you look at the schedule, and last year it came, I want to say, in late February, but there's always that 1 week where an SEC team does not have a game during the week, and that just so happens to fall not this coming week, but the week after. And you've got 2 straight home games going into that. So it's one of those things where maybe you get a little bit of momentum, you're able to have that week off and really reassess how things have gone, because I mean, this team has to know, like, you look at it, like, you're 9-0 at home, yet you're now 0-3 or 0-4 on the road. So,
yeah. So, and then the remaining road games. So we talked about those first 2 at Alabama, at Georgia, February 7th, Saturday night in Lexington at Rupp. Now, Kentucky is a hot mess right now, but we know.
Yeah, but they'll get up for us.
Yeah, you just throw that stuff out when it's Tennessee, us, Kentucky. Yeah. Then we go to the Hump on a Wednesday night, 9 p.m. game against Mississippi State. At Vanderbilt, late February. At Missouri, late February. Tuesday night, 9 p.m. game for the Missouri game. And Missouri, we've talked about them, and that's one.
They're well coached.
Yeah, very beatable, but man, you have got to be on point against Missouri, man. They can definitely catch you. And then the only other road game that remains is at the beginning of March at South Carolina. I mean, honestly, out of those 7 games,
some winnable road games there.
There's a few. I would say we should be, God, I'm sitting here thinking 3-4, maybe 4-3 on the road in those final 7 games. Say we go 4-3, then we go 4-5 on the road. It just means you got to protect home court.
Yeah, we can't afford to lose any home games.
I mean, maybe 1, but that's about it. Davey, any thoughts? I mean, am I being too tough on what that road schedule looks like?
No, it's really difficult. Yeah, like I said earlier, like, our next road win will be our first, and I just don't know where you're going to get it, just because, as we've talked about, like, the league isn't as great as it was last year, but I do think it's still just as deep. It's just the top teams aren't as talented as they were. So you're going to have to find a way to sneak one out, hopefully just get lucky and have somebody on a bad game, because it's just I don't see where it's going to come from. And it's frustrating to say that, especially whenever you look at what you've seen from Tennessee over the last couple of seasons. And it's just like, you expect the team to show up on the road, but you don't really have that force of, the Jemai, the Zakai that is able to kind of get this team to rally. And I love Jacoby, but he can't do it by himself. And it's going to be a struggle.
Yeah. Yeah. Elijah Robertson on the live chat says, Bob, I want my talent fee money back.
I mean, our highest paid player was the best player on the floor for us today, for what it's worth.
I'm clinging to that, Bob, that Native Mint looked better.
Yeah. I thought he did too. Yeah,
and I feel like some of the younger guys are, we're seeing flashes.
Yeah.
Yeah, when
I mean, I'm trying here, man.
I know, we're trying.
Probably not this year, but with what Davey said about guys that can maybe hit a shot off the dribble, coming off the screen, maybe not this year, but in the coming years, I think Troy Henderson can be that type of guy. I just don't think he's going to get to that this year. And other than that, we need Okparo was starting to take threes at the beginning of the year, but now he's shied away from when he gets wide open at the top of the key to just shoot that 3 straight on. He doesn't shoot that shot anymore.
Yeah,
and they never even try and set up anything. It seems like with Estrella out there, because he's the one that I wouldn't. If Estrella's the top of the key and he's got a wide open shot, go ahead and take it, man. He's a pretty good shooter.
Yeah,
I mean, you're not putting the ball in his hands to shoot a 3 to win a game or anything, but. A couple times a game. If Davey, I mean, wouldn't you think?
I think here's the thing, and we've talked about this with Rick Barnes teams, especially guys in the post that are looking to shoot the three. It's one of those things to where they're always hesitant, to where they're looking to see if the pass is there first.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for a lot of those guys, if it's something where you just catch the ball and you're like, I know there's nobody around me, I'm going to go ahead and shoot it. You just step right into it and take it. I feel like that allows you to have more success in those situations. But with the way in which Rick Barnes coaches, I just don't see us having much success there, even though, like you said, you saw some of our big guys hit that earlier. I mean, Jalen Carey, he took his 4th 3 today, and that was an absolute air ball at the top of the key when no one was there.
That one was tough.
Yeah.
Not saying Jalen Carey, mainly the JP Estrella and Akparas of the world that, like, obviously they're not going to shoot every time because Barnes does run a lot of action through handoffs at the top of the key with those big men. But sometimes you can't let a guy like Chinyelu just stand 5 feet from the basket when the guy he's guarding is out on the perimeter without punishing him somehow. At least step up a little bit.
But what I would say to that is, I mean, if I'm the opposing coach, it's one of those things to where I know if they're going to our bigs are not high quality shooters, and if a game is so important on the getting that rebounding edge, which tonight was or this morning was, it's one of those where I'm just going to trail off, and it's like, all right, I'm going to dare you to shoot it, and if you beat me from there, you beat me from there. But until you do, I'm just going to let you take it.
Yeah, agreed. Right on cue, Kevin Smith on the live chat says Akpara has to step up. I'm just looking at his line in 26 minutes, non-existent, man. 3 points, a rebound, an assist. He did have 2 blocks. He had one that was the announcers couldn't help themselves talking about how loud the block was and demonstrative. But, man, 1 of 4 from the field, 1 of 2 from the line. And, again, he had the responsibility of manning up with Chinyelu for the most part, and Ruben had his way, man. That's all there is to say. Let's jump over to the phone lines. We have our first caller of the day. It's Bradley. Bradley, you're on Voluntary Reaction.
You almost said the drive.
Hey guys, thanks for taking my call. That was a brutal watch. Not how I wanted to start my weekend by any means.
No, that was rough. I think we were all excited. I was, man. I got my business done this morning. Went to the gym, played a little ball myself, and got a workout in. It was like, God, I got a noon game. This is good, man. I'm feeling it. And then the way the game started, I'm feeling it. And then it just slipped away. And, by 5-6 minutes into the second half, we knew it was over.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know. I was talking to some of my buddies during the game, and it just, with this team, it seems like it's a mental thing, right? Like, we've got the talent. You look at the way we played against Houston earlier, and it's like, it's a team full of dogs, right? You're locked in. And once it got away, it just kind of felt like we lost all that edge. And you look back at what Rick Barnes said during his press conferences earlier in the year. He's like, I don't know what to tell this team. They need to do what we, what's in the scouting report, what we prepare them to do. They're just unfocused. And it kind of, I think back to the play where Gillespie got a pick from Carey, and he gave him a good pass, and Carey's not even freaking looking for the ball. And it's just like, I think that should, like, you're not locked in, you're not mentally focused, you're not aggressive. And it's just like, it's kind of, it's a coin toss what you're going to get, and it's that's going to kill you come tournament time, come SEC champion tournament time, everything. It's kind of pathetic, right? Like, how do you that's the easiest thing you can do. Come locked in. If you get beat because of talent, so what, right? But it's just, I don't know, aggravating.
No, it's fair observations. And Davey, this team, it feels like because of their body of work over the years, I mean, you still look at like the kind of the quantitative stuff about this team, and they still get a lot of love in Ken Palm and Torvik and everything else. But I agree with you, man. If they continue to play this way, I don't see this as a team that can make it past, make it into the second weekend of the tournament, even though they're getting, again, a lot of high regard. They still end up in the 4 or 5 range so far in bracketology. Now, you keep stacking losses, that's going to change. But I don't know, man. It just feels like some of it, we're still getting a little bit of that rub of, it's a Rick Barnes team and they excel at defense and everything else. What we saw today, that's pretty concerning. That's like that's Jekyll and Hyde personified.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I tweeted the Jekyll and Hyde reference last week, and it's like and then you had the Texas game where it's like, oh my gosh, like I know Texas isn't great, but it's like this team just found a way to turn it on. And then again, it was the exact opposite today. You look at the rankings. I mean, definitely going to take a hit in Ken Palm after today. And again, it's not like it's been a top 10 defensive team in Ken Palm, but offensive efficiency, defensive efficiency, after today, I mean, it's going to continue to take a toll. You're going to fall out of the top 25 in both the AP poll and in the net rankings. You were 23rd in the net coming into today. But yeah, you're about to really take a hit. And I just don't see a situation where you look at it and it's, hey, this is going to get better. I see reason for hope at the moment because we just haven't had a reason to see that.
Yeah. Bradley, any other thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, I think you guys pretty much covered it. I mean, you kind of think after some of those games not in the non-conference or even Arkansas, you get punched in the mouth. It's like, okay, let's, maybe that'll show them something. But after today, who knows what you're going to get. I mean, you can't make free throws. You can't even play defense right now, which is, and stop them from doing anything, which is, a staple of Rick Barnes' team. So I don't know, maybe, hopefully, everybody's running in practice and something changes, but I don't know. I appreciate you guys taking my call. I'll jump off and keep listening. So thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks for the call, man. Yeah, I mean, I think that, so we've talked about next week, there's Texas A&M and Kentucky at home. And then the guys have a week off before they go to that Saturday game against Alabama down in Tuscaloosa. Again, we talked about it with Texas being kind of a must-win game. I feel like, man, looking ahead to this schedule, they have got to capitalize on these home games coming up this coming week. I certainly think they win at least one of them, but they really ideally need to win them both.
Yeah.
Get up to 3-2 going on the road against Alabama.
We often talk about – oh, go ahead, Walker.
I was saying, like, we can't be a get-right game for Kentucky.
No.
The way they look coming into our building at home, like, we can't have that turn into a get-right game for them. That's
and
worst-case scenario.
You also don't want to start if we don't go 2-0 this week, suddenly we're going to be chasing it, I feel like, for probably the rest of the conference, trying to get even, trying to get above 500 in conference play. So, I don't know. You just don't ever want to play from behind.
Yeah, I've been thinking, with the way the conference tournament sets itself up, like we always talk about, you want to get that first round bye or the double bye. And at this point, it's like, is this team good enough to even get one game off? Or are they playing on the, not the first night now, but yeah, they're going to be playing early in the week. That's for sure. With Ken Palm, you were 45th in offensive efficiency going into today, 14th defensively. We'll see what happens once that updates. What we've often talked about, it's not a for sure thing, but when you look at least, like I believe it's the last 4 national champions, they're top 10 in both offensive and defensive efficiency in Ken Palm. And again, a lot of games still left to be played, but right now that kind of brings it down to 5 teams that could potentially win a national championship. Do you guys want to take a guess at who those 5 are?
Duke.
Michigan's at the top. They're 9th in offensive and 1st in defensive.
Houston?
No, but what's funny is Houston's only loss on the season is still Tennessee.
That's nuts.
You did say Duke earlier. They're 10th and 10th.
Yeah. So you're asking, I'm sorry, Dave, you're asking top 5 in offensive rating?
Top 10 in both offensive and defensive ratings.
Top
UConn?
10.
UConn?
They are... No, their offense is taking a little bit of toll. Defensively, they're 5th, though. Arizona's up there.
Iowa
State's up there. That's Michigan, Iowa State, Arizona, your top 3.
Purdue's
4th. They actually are 13th in defensive efficiency at the moment, but here are the teams, though, that are kind of like right on the edge of being top 10 in defensive efficiency, but it's Purdue, Vanderbilt, and Gonzaga. And it's crazy to see Vanderbilt top 5 in Ken Palm at the moment.
I mean, they're a good team. They used to be a lot better than they have been the past 5 to 10 years, and they just kind of lost their way. But I don't know.
They're by the way, they're up 10 with about 4 minutes to go against LSU. So they were up by much more. They were up 14 or 15 at halftime. So
LSU's kind of closed.
They're hanging in. They'll be fine. I'm sure they're going to win and continue to be undefeated.
Speaking of LSU, did any of y'all hang out with Lane Kiffin last night?
No, we talked about it. We were trying to figure out what the hell. You think he was here for trying?
Sam Levitt was still in town. So
definitely came to see Sam.
I think he was trying to intercept Sam. I'm certain of that.
It's maybe the most desperate thing I've ever seen after the DeMond Williams news. He flies to Knoxville to intercept him on the way to Miami.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. That's pretty good.
I did put out a APB. It does not look like he made a stop at Roosters and then tried to drive back off North Shore. So we have that.
That's good. That's
good stuff.
The Lexus.
It's fantastic reporting.
Oh, man.
Were you living here then? Did you already move back to town? Were you for the Kiffin Air?
You talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I was there. As a matter of fact, I spent a little time with Lane at a New Year's Eve party.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
How was that?
That was right.
You know, with
Yeah, he was as aloof as you could imagine, man.
what a putz.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I'm sure he was.
The old man was nice.
No, Monty was there too. Monty was great.
He used to come to Barley's all the time. He'd sit at the bar and draw up plays on napkins, and he liked his Crown Royal.
Yeah,
he's a gent.
Tim Dewberry says Akpara, Estrella, and Boswell gave us 7 points combined. That cannot continue. I mean, the big outlier there, obviously we talked about Akpara, but Estrella didn't score a point. And again, just looked,
is this a burn the tape game?
Oh, hey, you bury this.
No, you can't, because it's not if it's the first time it's happened. Yeah. But listen, they've played not as bad, but close to this bad on the road, and especially in the second half.
With the turnovers, it's same problems we've seen. A lot of stuff on offense just looks super, super difficult half the time. It doesn't look smooth on that end of the floor right now, especially when we play a lengthy, really aggressive defense.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, too. Beating a team like Florida, you have to hit shots from outside just because they are so big and so experienced, especially with – and, I mean, really, you don't even just have to say the post, because Thomas Hawk, he's 6'10", 6'11", and he's basically playing their small forward position.
Yeah, he is small forward right now. It's ridiculous how big he is. He made Nate Ament look small.
Yeah, we were talking with somebody yesterday, Davey, who covers the Gators, and we were talking about Thomas Houck and, the fact that he tested the draft waters, and I think the feedback to him was your length is great. You got to work on your outside shot, and so it feels like Florida, in exchange for him coming back and playing another year, they've kind of made a commitment to work him at the 3, and he's really good today. I mean, he was still a factor today, but I've seen him play even that Georgia game, he was fantastic the other night.
And with how they weren't able to really reload at guard, which is going to be hard when you have the team that they did, that obviously went on to win a national championship. I think that's a really good coaching decision by Golden. It's hey, I know I've got Chinyulu and Condon that I can rely on, and then I've got Hogland coming off the bench. Yeah, we'll move Hawk to the 3 and then just try to find a couple of other guys that can shoot. And again, this is a Florida team I definitely think can make a run and can really go back to being a Final Four team when it's all said and done, even though they've really struggled early, especially at the guard play. But if Boogie Flam plays like he did today moving forward, that team's going to be in that conversation come March.
Oh, I think at a minimum they've got the tools to win the Big East, the SEC. I was just looking at a Big East score. That's what cracked me up in this game. We heard Dan Schulman make the comment that this Florida team, when they play like this, they can play with anybody, and it's no shit. They were like preseason number 5, weren't they? I mean, they were defending national champions. They got a ton of talent. We talk about get right games. It feels like today was a get right game for them too.
Yeah, it just sucks whenever you're on the opposite end of that.
That really got under your skin, didn't it?
Really got under my skin. The announcers got under my skin today. Yeah. Like I said, if I heard Jay Billis one more time say, "Oh, the turnovers are killing Tennessee," it's really?
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock.
We're all watching the same game, man. We get it.
I don't know of any announcers that would not get under your skin whenever your team's playing like that, though.
Well, that's true. That's fair.
I mean, it's just especially from that smarmy, mealy mouth MFer, JB Bias. I hate him.
Wow.
It's Derek Dooley noted on this show, Dave.
I know you hate him. We had him on with Dan, what would have been back in, I think it was back over the summer. He knows ball. like in some of his like one-on-one conversations, I feel like he does a better job of breaking it down than he does whenever he's even like on the broadcast, which I think is a little awkward. Like I feel like if you're going to bring that, why not bring that to the game?
Well, there's something that's changed with him, man. I thought he was, this was years ago at this point. I was a big fan. I thought he was really refreshing. He was kind of like, there was a moment in time where Herb Street was really good at what he does too, and I feel he's lost that too. I don't know if it's just a thing that happens over time or what, but yeah, there was a time I was a big fan of Billis, but not in the past few years, man. It feels like usually he's more inclined to want to talk about Duke and Kentucky, and it's like the Blue Bloods and not so much the team that he's actually covering, doing the analysis on.
Yeah, not exactly putting him in the same boat because I don't remember Dick Vitale before he was it's awesome with a capital, like him just doing his normal routine. Did he actually used to give analysis and then it just eventually turned into that where it just became more about Dick Vitale than it was the game itself?
Yeah, no, you're right. Hey, let's jump over to the phone lines. Got another caller on the line. It's Anthony. Anthony, you're on the Voluntary Reaction. How are you, man?
Hey, Bob. I'm just, I'm trying not to get too upset about this. I think Barnes has spoiled me, and I just got to adjust my mindset at this point. Kind of like we talked about it last weekend. Davey talked about it. There's no reason to continue to get upset. I mean, at this point, I think everybody knows this is a poorly constructed team, and it's, there's a really good chance we're going to have a first weekend exit. So I'm just trying to work along the lines of, at this point, anything we accomplish is a plus. But I do think that the future is bright with this roster as long as Barnes hangs around.
Yeah, something we talked about on the show, and you may have heard it. One of the things, our takeaway from that Texas game, for example, I agree with you from the standpoint of I don't want to start putting all my eggs into the next year basket, but these freshmen, I mean, he's got a good nucleus of a bunch of guys that kind of fit his mold, right? Whether it's Amari Evans or Dwayne Brown or Bishop Boswell, even Troy Henderson. I'm seeing some stuff from those guys that give me some optimism. And, boy, the way Billis talked up Ament today, I mean, there's part of me that's holding out hope that, if Ament doesn't get it going, does Ament come back for a second year? Because, man, I would take that in a heartbeat. I think we've said it before, the best we're going to see from Nate Ament is probably going to be after he's gone from here, unfortunately. We just hope we can get some good stuff from him before then because, again, the NBA draft nicks, I know he's slipping a little bit in their consideration set, but he's still highly regarded. And if you were to listen to those guys today on the announcing call, they're making it sound like, he's still well within the lottery. And I'm not sure that's the case. I'm sure he's still maybe on the fringe, but unless he gets it going, it's hard to tell. But all of that to say, I'm pretty excited about what this team has as far as returning players. But I'd like to see something happen in the here and now. But this team is, it's a tough one. It's a tough one to kind of see how they're going to have a way forward beyond maybe a first weekend in the tournament.
Yeah, there's no reason to say that we can't go on a run and accomplish something, but I just don't expect it at this point. Speaking of Ament, I thought he kind of was a bright spot.
He was. He absolutely was.
And I thought that we saw, our offense, we just are not going to have enough offense to compete in big games, big road games without Ament. We saw that in the first half when he picked up his second foul and we took him out, and then they went on that big run almost immediately. And that was pretty much it at that point. Okay, here's a question for y'all. What do you think is more likely to happen? Ament comes back for another year next year, or we get Levitt?
Oh, God.
I don't think
both
either
low.
one of them are likely at this point.
Yeah, very low. I think of both. God,
but if you're giving me a choice, I'm taking Ament, and it's not even remotely close.
No, I don't put either one of them at much over 10-15% chances. God, this I think what makes this team so frustrating to watch is we just don't have any ball handlers, and the turnovers or just every game is just an onslaught of turnovers, and it's just ugly basketball. And we're so used to watching ZZ.
Yeah.
I mean, that for me, it just this team looks so different, and we were blessed. You know, we had two guys, Jemai and Ziegler here for 4 years. Gainey had been here for a long time as well, and I kind of really enjoyed watching them do like the boa constrictor job on teams where they would just squeeze the life out of people defensively. I mean, this is the kind of game where if Jemai was still on the team, Boogie Flange would have ended up with like 8 points because Barnes would have put him on him and he would have shut him down. He would have completely taken him out of the game, either him or Ziegler.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead, Anthony. I'm sorry.
I remember after the season ended and, ZZ was trying to get one more year of eligibility, and some fans, even some people on your airwaves were debating about whether that's a good thing or not. And I think we can put that conversation to rest now. I think people really maybe didn't appreciate ZZ as much as we should have.
No, I think you're right. We sure do miss him now. I mean, to your point about capable ball handlers, I mean, we do put a lot on Jacoby, right? And today there were moments, at least in the first half, where it felt to me like they were trying to run, let Bishop almost run the point a little bit. But problem was, man, he didn't take care of the ball today. That kid had 6 turnovers, and he's been a plus for this team by and large. But today his line was pretty good, but the 6 turnovers are a killer. They're just an absolute killer. And so, but I couldn't help but think that was them trying to create some level of relief for Jacoby Gillespie and let him work more to get free for shots and things like that. Hell, we even saw Amari Abram bringing the ball up a couple of times too. I mean, we were trying a lot at that point, but we definitely don't have much in that space. Nate Ament can do it. He can do it as well, but you brought up a really good point. This thing did turn. I don't think that's entirely coincidental that it turned when he also sat down with 2 fouls because he was playing good today.
He was playing very well, very well today. And, this team isn't going to beat anybody, or we're going to beat very few teams when we're not winning the offensive rebounding battle. That's just what we've got to do that. That's non-negotiable.
It just felt like, the thing that it was to this day for this season, our signature moment obviously was taking Houston out. And that was a game where it felt like we out Houstoned Houston, right? We played, the way they play, and we were tougher than them. And I can't help but think today we went in knowing this game was going to come down to whose front line could rise above and really emerge. And, man, there's no question who's played better today, and that was Florida.
The further we get to that Houston game, the more I think, maybe we caught them so early in the season that we didn't know our own limitations at that point, and we were playing with a lot of confidence.
Yeah. Davey, what were you saying?
You want Houston to keep winning. I mean, whenever it comes back, you want them to be a 1 seed, and then you're just like, oh, wow, they're key losses. And you just be like, yeah, they took that loss to Tennessee early in the season. I know it was on a neutral field or a neutral court, but and I don't even know if it was so much of Tennessee knowing their own limitations at that point. I think it was more of just the book not being out yet on like the best ways to stop Tennessee, and teams have kind of figured out, all right, if we can do A, B, and C, then we'll be fine. And a lot of that's just take away. Gillespie and Ament had a really good game in that one as well, and that's just not been exactly a consistent situation.
Speaking of
that's what worries me, Davey. That's what worries me is that the book is getting out on us, and it's just real hard on Gillespie when he's the only guy that can handle the ball, and he's really your only reliable shooter. It's just going to be really easy for teams to focus on him and take him out. Last thing, I like to do this throughout the year when I call in on these basketball post games. At this moment in time, if they were to seed the teams today, I mean that's a little different, but. Okay, let's think about it a different way. Say, what's your prediction? By the time the season ends, what's your prediction of our seed that we'll get? And I'll just tell you, I think by the time the season is over, I see us probably as somewhere 7, 8, 9, 10 seed. See you guys.
Thanks, Anthony. I'm a little more optimistic than that, but not much. I was thinking in a perfect world a 6, but maybe more like a 7.
Yep.
I don't know how you feel, Davey, but
No, I was going to say that, and not trying to be tacky for the kids, with the 6 and the 7.
oh yeah, good point. Didn't even think about that. Speaking of Houston, by the way, we were talking about them. They're having little trouble with Baylor today. They're up 25 with 3.5 minutes to go. Houston's been a blowtorch since that loss, like you said, Davey.
Yeah, Miss Hampton's going to have another team. It's got a chance to win it all this year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And by the way, I've been so sold on Michigan, but Michigan's down 4 with 1.5 minutes to go against Wisconsin.
Yeah, I'm keeping track of it over
They,
here.
I mean, they I wouldn't say I mean, they were in a tight game the other night. I mean, it's conference play time. I mean, I still think they're far and away probably the best team in the country. Maybe Arizona, but I mean, anything can happen in these conference games.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's impossible to go undefeated. I mean, the last team to do that was Indiana in 76. So you get into the conference play, especially whenever, the Big Ten's a really good conference. So you're going to eventually have a game where you don't fully bring it and you take the L. But, if I'm Dusty May, it's one of those situations you want to have at least a loss to really be like, all right, guys, like this is what can happen whenever you're not coming game in, game out. And if we allow this to happen, we're gonna go home and not be able to achieve what we ultimately want to at the end of the day.
Yeah. Tim on the live chat says he's projecting us as a 5 or 6 seed. So, the good news is I don't think we're seeing anybody thinking, oh, no, we're going to get it right and we'll be 4 seed. I mean, anything could happen, but highly unlikely. Jason Morrison also says on the live chat, hey, this is what it's gotten to, boys. He goes, hey, we lost 73-43 last year at Florida, so you could say we did somewhat better this year. I would disagree with that. I mean, the margin of victory is different, sure. But to Davey's point earlier, Florida scored 91 points. How many teams have done that on a Rick Barnes team lately? Not many.
Not many.
And it just felt like they just kept piling it on at the end, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I got irritated about. I was like, really? You going to leave your starters out there?
Yeah.
Not going to get anybody in the game? Really?
Also, in the SEC, maybe is the gig up on Georgia. They're trailing at North Carolina at halftime by 6.
At North Carolina?
Or I'm sorry, South Carolina.
Okay, yeah.
No, North Carolina
I don't know.
Makes sense, but now they're trailing in Columbia by 6. I don't know. I think Georgia's still pretty good, but the reality of conferences.
Duke's in a dogfight with SMU.
They started terribly. SMU hadn't started the game 11-0. Then Duke came back.
How's my boy doing?
I haven't seen much from him, to be honest.
7-4-1 so far. Their guy, what's his name? Boopy Miller's not
Boopy
playing.
Miller.
He's hurt.
Really?
Yeah.
That's not very good.
So he's out. So that could be trouble for the ponies.
It just goes back to show you, like, if Georgia's struggling at South Carolina, like, I believe Georgia is pretty good. Like, there's not an easy road game in this conference.
No, I agree.
Not one. Doesn't matter who you are.
I agree.
Ask Florida. They went to Missouri and lost to start conference play.
Very true. God, I'm looking at that.
Oh gosh, you mentioned Missouri. I'm already nervous about Nate Amon against Mark Mitchell.
Oh God.
Yeah. By the way, and we talked about Kentucky, who's coming to town next week. I think Jaden Quaintance is out tonight.
He is
for Kentucky.
That kid still has not played for was it Louisville?
Oh yeah, Mikel Brown.
Yeah.
Wonder what's going on with him.
He's got a bad back.
Yeah. And by the way, Kansas went down today on the road at West Virginia.
I mean, they should have lost their last game against Kansas State, or it was TCU. Bob, you watched that game, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. It was TCU.
Oh,
you guys think there's more parity now because of NIL and the transfer portal?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Definitely.
100%.
Tim makes a great point. Cam Carr is leading Baylor in scoring against Houston right now. That's the type of guy you actually need on this team right now.
Yeah. I still wonder he obviously would be additive to the team, but he's not going to be a 21-point game scorer for us here, right?
Cam Carr?
Cam Carr. Yeah,
It could have been.
I just don't think he'd get that kind of green light with a Rick Barnes team. That's all. I'm not.
I'm
saying
looking at
it's capable,
Houston's up like 20 points over Baylor.
Yeah, they're killing.
Okay.
Them. They're killing them.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I mean, Carr has 11 points, but most of his points came at the line as I last checked.
Oh yeah, he's actually shooting terrible.
Yeah, he's 1 of 7 from the field, 8 of 14 at the line. But on the season, he's still averaging almost 21 a game.
No, he would have been he just would have been a useful Jordan Gainey role type of player, like a guy that comes in, plays limited minutes, but has a green light when he's on the floor.
Gainey really didn't play minimum minutes last year.
Like the first year we had him is what I mean. Like that kind of 6-man who might play more than that starting shooting guard who, when he's on the floor, can shoot whenever he wants.
Yeah. Think about those transfers. I know we've talked about it, but you talk about Cam Carr, Freddie DeLeon's averaging 14 points at Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's some shooters we could have had, but I'm sure it had something to do with inability to play D or something. I mean, that's the way it goes. I'm sorry to say.
Well, I think when it came to that time, we just got unlucky with the Rodney Rice recruitment, and we spent a lot of time and money on that, and USC ends up winning out on that. Early, we tried to get Isaac McNeely and just got outbid by Louisville. And then at that point, we just had to pivot to guys on smaller teams like Amari Abram. Like we just lost out on our 2 targets, and that's just how it goes in the transfer portal.
Yeah.
Not everyone can get who they want.
Duke Miles too.
Yeah, Duke Miles as well. Another guy who we spent time to go after, and it just didn't work out.
Well, Karma got Rodney Rice back. He asked for a bunch of money, and I'm sure he got his money, but
man.
He's out for the year.
The ACL. Is that what his deal is?
It was one of those bad season-ending leg injuries.
Yeah. I got to say, by the minimal calls we've had, that actually it starts to resonate also with, okay, man, are we getting to some level of apathy on the basketball stuff, or it might be because of all the news that's happening in the portal too. I mean, I will say that there's a lot going on there. So,
well, yeah, I mean, there's so much going on football still right now. I don't think everybody's completely. We got 2 playoff games coming up here in a little while.
Yeah, that's fair. Let's go ahead and pivot for a minute and talk about the Chaz Coleman story, because
it's huge, bro.
Obviously, and then last night we had Ahmad Campbell too,
the adjuster.
So all of a sudden, and of course, I've been one, as those of you who listen to the drive know, I've been a little down on just our speed to market plan with the portal, and I still don't think I was wrong in that. But all of that to say, I am much more encouraged based on what we've seen here in the last 24 hours.
I'm a lot less anxious about the new defensive coordinator now. How many of his guys do we have now?
3, pending 4 if we get the safety, who all 3 of the guys in Coleman and Amari are recruiting on Twitter already.
Now, Davey, we haven't had a chance to get your take on this. This was a hot topic, as you can imagine, yesterday. Where do you stand if Sam Levitt is truly in play for us? Where do you stand on that? You want him? You don't? I mean, because it's going to come with a big price tag, of course.
100%. I'm one of those guys that, from an analytical standpoint, I look at, I've been on this for going on a decade now, where college football is going to become more and more like the NFL. And you have to look at it from essentially a salary cap situation. And, with Miami being in it, Lane Kiffin coming to Knoxville, you look at Sam Levitt, I struggle to see where his price tag's under $4 million at this point. So when you do that, that's obviously going to eat up a lot of the funds you have available. And I trust Heupel when it comes to the quarterback play. Now, obviously, you would love to have a guy that's, potentially projected to be a first-round pick when it's all said and done. But Heupel's a guy that can do less with more at the quarterback position. I do feel you have to get this defense straightened out. And the big talk about Jim Knowles is it takes a while for, teams to adjust to his defense. And it's like, back under the way in which we viewed college football, pre-transfer portal, NIL, you're not able to get guys in real quickly that understand that system. So getting 3 of his, bigger players in terms of
4,
we've got 4 now.
Yep.
Just now.
Well, really?
One lane.
The safety, we got him.
So we got all four.
Nice.
Oh, okay. Now you look at that. You have pretty much a guy from his system at every single level of the defense. That is going to be huge. Now, again, like I'm not saying it's like, hey, we're going to turn this into a top 10 defense after one season. That's pretty. If that were to happen, that would probably be the biggest shock I've seen in the Heupel era, and we've seen a lot of shocks there. Whenever you look at how quick he came on, but it's great. You're not having to take a situation where it's, oh, wow, like it's going to be another down year for the defense, because we know what's going to happen. If the defense were to have a bad season, you have suboptimal quarterback play, then everyone that's already been frustrated with this past season is going to be calling for Heupel's head. It's going to start to turn toxic. And it's, again, as we look at how much parity there is in college football nowadays, it is something that just being able to have momentum going in, I think this is huge. And I mean, the portal era is by no stretch over with for this season. So being able to continue to revamp that defense completely, going to be big. I know a lot of people were upset about losing Jordan Ross, who's now going to LSU, but getting Coleman's an upgrade over him. Now, great. You can say like, well, it'd be good to have him on the opposite side, but I mean, this is a top 3 player in the portal you got there. I feel really good with where the defense is trending, and now we just wait to see what they do at quarterback. In an ideal world at this point, my number one option would just be Joey finding a way to get an extra year. You give him a full off season to work.
Yeah.
Now, is that going to happen?
There.
Yeah.
I'm skeptical. I honestly am. I don't see it happening, but if it was going to be the case, I mean, that would be huge.
Yeah.
The big thing, I mean, now Knowles has a guy who has played in his system for 1 year in basically each position group in their room individually. He's got a defensive lineman, a linebacker, safety, and, I guess 2. Defensive tackle, defensive end, linebacker, and safety. So hope has to be that will accelerate the install, and it will help us get lined up correctly come fall. So,
and listen, like I mean, you look at Indiana right now. I think we were having the conversation in a group chat last night about they are just so great in the trenches. But when you look at it, you look at their offensive line, their defensive line. It's all guys that have, they're not like kids, like they're 24-year-old grown adults, and being able to have guys that have been in college football for so long that fit the system. You go out and you get guys in the transfer portal, because that's what Cignetti's done. It's not like he's relied on kids that Indiana's recruited, at the high school level to come in and, make impacts right away or even develop within their program. He's like, no, he goes out and he sees the talent of, this guy would be great with what we have. And they just dominate and put so much pressure on the quarterback, and then give Mendoza so much time for their offensive line that they're able to just eat. And so, yeah, it's great. You got the number 1 player in the draft at quarterback, but I mean, you just watch them in the trenches, man. I can't tell you the last time I saw a team that played that well on both sides of the offensive and defensive line.
Talk about Mendoza. We were exchanging on a text line last night. His QBR last night was 242. I mean,
17 to 20, 5 TDs.
Yeah, 17 to 25 TDs. I mean, they are so dialed in, man. I mean, I'm trying to, that was a big topic of discussion last night on social media at large was, is this better than, you start to think about some of the superlative teams like the 2019 LSU team and others. Does this team fall into that category? Do we think it's a better team than last year's Ohio State team?
Ooh, I did think about that last night. Like I wondered this year's Indiana team against last year's Ohio State team, who would win?
Yeah.
That's who it reminds me of. I don't know that they're quite at that same level that LSU offense. I mean, it had Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, Justin Jefferson. Who was the running back?
Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah. Kind of, and they had, I'm sure it wouldn't surprise me if a couple of those guys from that line are playing in the NFL as well. I don't know about that, but I mean, they're awfully good, and they play so fundamentally sound. If you make any mistakes with them, They will absolutely destroy you.
That opening play for Oregon, that was dichotomy of what the game was going to be. Right?
They gave them 14 of their 52.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, I am looking forward to seeing this Miami defense, to see how Cignetti and more so Mendoza, how they're going to handle that Miami defense.
What's going on with Cristobal, by the way? Have you seen some of his interviews that he's done? He's been like, is that how he always is, Davey? You might know. I mean, he's kind of like, he's a prick, man. He was firing back at Saban, one of his mentors. He got into it with Scott Van Pelt the other night. I mean, I don't know.
How you get into it with Van Pelt?
He seemed a little on edge. I was even watching, I guess it was the trophy ceremony after the Fiesta Bowl, and he was like, let's get a bunch of these randos off the stage and get our own players up here. And it's just, he seemed pretty hostile at moments, but I mean, it's working for him. I know the biggest moment I saw wasn't even in an interview, but this is probably a little bit more justified. One of his assistant coaches came up and hugged him from behind after the game. And dude, I thought he was going to just turn around and punch that guy. But I mean, obviously he's the game's not over yet. Even though you walked in for a touchdown with 18 seconds left. But yeah, I'll admit, I was wrong on him ever since that Georgia Tech game where they botched the clock at the end and they lost it. I was like, I don't see how this guy's going to be able to.
You're wrong on him though. That's the thing. He's a whack job. He called that time. He shouldn't have called that timeout. It almost cost him. No, I'm with you.
But I don't think this is going to be much of a championship, if I'm being honest. I think this one's going to be over by the third quarter.
After what I saw last night, I tend to agree.
If I bet, I'd bet on Miami.
James Bradford on the live chat called our newest acquisition and makes it the Happy Valley 4.
What Ruska, the Nittany Vols?
The Nittany Vols, that's good too. And James Bradford also said we got an incoming visit from a Texas A&M defensive lineman. Does that ring a bell? I haven't heard that.
Yeah, I saw that when we went to air just a little bit ago. I can't remember his name.
I mean, there's still guys going in the portal.
There's still a bunch of guys that are still on campus right now meeting.
Do we think now I said we're talking about Tennessee, but I'm going to jump back to last night's game. Do we think Dante Moore's performance, because there's been some chatter that he may go back for another year at Oregon just because he doesn't want to go play for the Jets?
He might need to.
Yeah, last night, how would you grade that performance? I mean, is that just more Indiana just was, all over him, or does he still need a little more seasoning? What do you guys think?
I thought he flashed a little bit. I thought that drive after the opening pick six was really, really strong from him.
Yeah.
He had some really strong drives early in the third quarter. It's just the opening pick six was really bad on him. The first fumble, his running back runs into his own arm and knocks a ball out.
Well, yeah, but that's not that was part of their problem. It's kind of hard to tell because of their injury issues at running back. Mm-hmm. And their inability. I mean, he was you were barely getting to 1,001 before that Indiana defensive line was on him. And it just seemed like he would try and step up into the pocket, and he would just step up into somebody, one of the other defensive linemen from Indiana that was coming on a stunt and just crushing him.
Yeah, it was less about Dante Moore playing bad, more that Fernando Mendoza just showed how much more NFL ready he was than Moore is.
I would come back for another year if I'm Dante Moore. And not just so much because it's the Jets that are there, but I mean, if you want to talk about a team, he's one of those guys, he has the talent, but I just see it being another Sam Darnold type situation where he gets over there, they don't have anything around him, and it basically just runs him into the ground. Now, granted, when Darnold came out, you didn't have NIL like you did, but I think another year would do him a lot of solid, and I also just kind of curious, what happens from a transfer portal perspective, because, you look at the DeMond Williams staying at Washington. If he were to go back to Oregon, what does that then do with, the Sam Leavitt sweepstakes? Because I still think, and again, a lot of people are just saying it's just because Leavitt's from, right outside of Portland, it's that's why people are linking him there. It's listen, I mean, that would be the best situation for Leavitt if you're talking about going in and winning right now. When you look at what else would be around him as far as talent, like I don't see a better situation for him to step into a better spot. And so that's why I see that. But now that Miami's in the situation and you look at the rest of the ACC, it's kind of a cakewalk if you just want to go do that. And I mean, again, like just the fun of college football right now. I mean, Miami is playing in the national championship, and that's a team that no one had penciled in to the college football playoff going into the last week. I mean, the committee flipped Notre Dame out to put them in, and now look at where Miami is.
Well, I mean, I saw it. I'm sure you guys have probably seen it. The graphic, it's kind of gone a little bit viral on Twitter, where like all the national media, who their picks were for national champion, and Indiana and Miami aren't on there.
No. I think there were maybe 17 or 18 people that were picking, and the only person that even had a team that made essentially the Final Four, the semifinals, was I think Taylor Lewan had Oregon winning it all. So everybody else had like Alabama, Clemson, Texas. There's like an LSU, Ohio State.
LSU, wow. Saw some Penn States on there.
Oh yeah.
By the way, quick update: Wisconsin pulled it off. Michigan lost its first game.
Wow.
Wisconsin beats them on the road, 91-88.
God, in Ann Arbor too.
Yep.
Okay. So they're not invincible.
No.
Now we're down to 5 undefeated teams. On the text box, Tampa Vol says, rough game, talking about basketball. I think the apathy is setting in. Are we more hopeful for next year than this season? And, we did talk about that a little bit. We do think there's some building blocks for next season. But, man, we got to focus on the here and now still, too. This team –
I don't think it's time to hit the panic button.
It's not. And I mean, again, it's one of those deals like we got what we got, man. We're just going to, we're not going to, even though I saw Louisville, I think I sent that along to you guys earlier. Louisville got another G League guy that's immediately eligible. I don't see us adding anybody.
We're really doing this?
I guess, man. I mean, there's just too many gray areas in the rules. That's the point, And these G League guys haven't signed an NBA contract per se. That must be the case if they're, otherwise I don't see how they could get in. I mean, that James Najee guy with Baylor, I think he even played a minute or two at the NBA level, but still had they had somewhere, some of the language allowed them to get him on campus and eligible to play at the collegiate level.
That's insane.
Yeah, it is. Tampa Vol also said, switching to football, I think Indiana is on to something with team makeup. Better to have 3-star players that are bigger with more experience. Announcer said last night, I didn't hear this, that, it makes sense. The average age on the IU team is 23 compared to the average age of the Green Bay Packers roster, which is 25. I mean,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
I saw where some kid, he's not a kid, some guy got turned down for his 7th season.
Oh, yeah. Chandler Morris, I think.
Of eligibility.
It's crazy. I did not know this, Davey. I was shocked to hear this, that, and this is in my home state, that Indiana University has over 800,000 alumni across the country. It's the largest alumni base of any college right now. Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of, working with Dockich, who, played and coached there. We're kind of like ate up with the Indiana right now, and also our operations manager is an IU guy who grew up in Indy. So I'm kind of surrounded by it daily at the office. But yeah, I mean, like it's a fun story, and it just goes to show you, when you look at teams, can you adapt when the rules change? And Indiana bringing in Cignetti and him doing what he's done, where you also look at just kind of the drop off of the SEC as far as, those elite teams. It's really interesting. And so seeing Cignetti be able to adapt, it's one of those things to where I'm kind of curious, because one of the big bread and butters of the SEC for going back as long as you want to look at it, and still when it's all said and done, the SEC is again going to have the most players drafted out of their conference, which is a stat that goes back all the way to 2006. But are we going to start to see teams go away from just being too fixated on top recruiting classes? Because you have a lot of these teams that get these, great 4 and 5 stars, but Indiana had 7 4 and 5 stars playing last night. which is insane whenever you look at the stars and, the industry standard whenever it comes to that. And that bucks the trend of anything we've ever seen. And so will the coaches, because a lot of coaches are set in their ways, and you look at some of the greats that retired because they didn't want to have to deal with the new way and structure of which college football was operating, college basketball for that matter too. When you look at guys like Jay Wright, Tony Bennett just stepping down, it's going to be a fun experiment to continue to play out. But if I'm like Josh Heupel, I'm putting more emphasis on the transfer portal than I am going out and getting guys that, you could have that could eventually, come their sophomore, junior year, be able to start for you. But we talk about just leaving money on the bench right now. And a lot of teams in the SEC are doing that. And they're not getting those players on the field, and they're falling behind to a lot of these other schools that are just like, we're putting all our eggs in the transfer basket.
No, exactly. I mean, it's really simple. What we heard last night was, and Cignetti's making it work. His whole approach is, I'm less concerned about potential and more about what have you done. And so that's the way he's built this team. And I think it's kind of set, I used the term last night, it's kind of flattened the college football world. I mean that in the respect that it's, man, the SEC, we've been talking about this, and there's now articles like on CBSSports.com, et cetera. It's like the whole chatter of the SEC just being such a dominant conference, it doesn't ring that true at the moment. It's still a great conference, obviously, but because of the performance of like an Indiana and what we're seeing Texas Tech do and others, I mean, some of these other teams and other conferences are kind of resetting the calculus for all this.
Mm-hmm. The way I think about it is just since everyone can pay players now and players can move everywhere, it just makes the logo on the side of the helmet matter a little less than it used to.
Yeah.
Like when you look at a game, you can't just look at the names of the teams anymore and assume who the better team is. Like that's just not.
Yeah.
That's not the world we live in anymore.
Yep.
And culture's never been more important than right now, because you're going to have a lot of these teams where they lose guys after a year, especially if you're Indiana and you're going out and you're recruiting guys that are already, seniors, but they're 24-year-olds with 1 year of eligibility left. So it's just like, are you strong enough in how you set up the culture at that program to just roll it over whenever you bring in a bunch of new guys for the next season?
Yeah. Jumping back to basketball on the live chat, Harold Denton says, outside of Jalen Carey, our other low post players are not good offensively. They sure weren't today, obviously. I think Dwayne Brown, like I said, can be an efficient guy that can get you 8-10 points pretty regularly. And Estrella, man, I'm so hot and cold with him. I mean, I want to get behind that guy because I think he's got skills, particularly around the basket. He's very effective. He was not today. And obviously we also play the game of, when's he going to get hurt again? That seems to be the problem. We haven't had it recently, but that is a concern. So I don't know. I think I have a little more faith in our front line, but today was definitely not a good sample to go off of.
Mm-hmm. And just from like reading what we've heard, it feels like everyone on that front line besides Jalen Carey is dealing with some type of injury. Like we know Estrella picked up something that had him sit out a couple games in the non-conference schedule, and he still feels like he's been on that kind of minutes restriction since then. Okpara's dealing with something. It's just none of the guys are 100% right now other than Carey.
Yeah. Hey, we're going to sound the warning if you the phone lines are open. So if you want to call and let us know what's on your mind, whether it's about the basketball game, whether it's about the transfer portal, feel free. Area code 865-966-3435. But we're probably going to be on for about another 10 minutes or so, and then we're going to wind it down because we got NFL football to watch, a lot more basketball to watch, and I'm sure everybody's kind of got their minds on that stuff anyway. But we're going to be here for a little bit longer to talk about some of this stuff. And again, basketball, definitely a work in progress. We got a big week coming up. It just feels like we kind of take one step forward and then a step or two back. And that makes next week really, really critical for this team with home games against Texas A&M, Buckyball coming to town, and then Kentucky, who has, by the way, need I remind you, Kentucky has won their last two games in Knoxville against the Vols. So
we don't need to help Pope. We need to push him.
By the way, you guys all saw that stuff, right, about Pope in his presser?
Oh,
saying,
quotes.
The quotes.
This is pretty crazy.
If you're a fan, if that's your coach and you're part of that fan base, does that concern you at all, Davey? You know what we're talking about here, right?
Yeah, I mean that's one of those moods where you're going home and like cracking open a case and listening to Creed in the Garage at 3 a.m. when you know you're really down. My gosh, I mean, I'm assuming the quote about it makes you even think about killing yourself. That's legit. When you get to that point,
that was a really dumb thing to say. Unless you really do feel that way, in that case, you need some therapy. You need some help.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, they've not been able to get anything going. So I like Kentucky fans that they got it rough. I've got a good friend who, grew up in Knoxville, but ended up going there and was texting him about it. And he's just like, listen, like there's not a situation where Pope gets fired after this season, but there's not much reason to think that there's going to be any hope and this team turns it around.
Yeah, I mean, God, that just makes, next season's going to be murder for him. You know what I mean? It's like, I agree. I don't see him getting fired after 2 seasons, but season 3, they will be all over him. So, and that's one of the things we've talked about is because I have a friend, also a big Kentucky fan, who knows the psychology of it a little better than I do. And he said the book on Pope is he's not like Butch Jones. He doesn't get spun up by what the media says, but he's very hard on himself, and because I think he recognizes this is a great opportunity for him as a head coach to be at the school he played at, et cetera. And he pushed all the right buttons in season 1, but we talk a lot these days about roster construction. I know there's some doubt about Tennessee's roster construction for basketball. I think it's safe to say right now Kentucky's roster construction for basketball, all $22 million of it is
most expensive.
Yeah, it's not going well.
No, but I mean they're probably going to have the most expensive roster again next year, and it's going to be a completely different group of guys besides maybe Quaintance.
Yeah,
but boo freaking who? You're Kentucky.
I did get to. This is going back to just talking about spending all that money in the portal and whatnot, but. Going back to the football side, just kind of looking at the numbers, I think you guys were having a conversation earlier in the week as far as, like how many transfers does Tennessee need to get? I can't remember what you guys said. What was that number at?
We put the line at 12.5, and we were saying over or under.
Okay.
What do we think we end up with? We think we need more than that, but Tennessee's average over the past few years has been 7.5 out of the portal. Mm-hmm. So I just don't see us getting to 20.
I believe these numbers are updated, but as of right now, you've got 9 transfers coming in.
Yeah.
So you got 21 out. You're ranked 21 according to On3 when you're looking at that. And I mean, Walker, you mentioned earlier about the name on the side of the helmet. When we look at the transfer portal, it shouldn't come as a shock to anybody. But Texas Tech is currently first.
Yep.
There, you got Louisville second, Indiana's third, Virginia Tech is fourth, which kind of makes sense with Franklin and doing what they're doing. A&M is fifth. So those top 5 teams, not exactly the blue bloods that we're accustomed to seeing, but I just thought this was crazy, and it'll be interesting to see just because I was really high on the guy they got at quarterback, and I like their coach in Eric Morris. Anybody want to take a guess at how many transfers out Oklahoma State has currently?
Oh, how many transfers out?
I know it's a ton.
35.
Because the top 3 in the rankings are Oklahoma State, LSU, and Penn State. But Penn State and Oklahoma State have taken in a massive number, like you were just talking about, and LSU hasn't. So they've just got a super high quality class going. Go figure.
Oklahoma State, based off On3's rankings, they're currently 10th in the portal rankings, but they have had 61 players transfer out.
Wow. Wow.
Currently 34 coming in, so it's not like, they're in the single digits or anything. And I mean, it's going to be an overhaul. That was a terrible program this past year. And, a lot of those guys who, were attached to Gundy, obviously looking to go elsewhere. So Eric Morris looking to put his stamp on early.
He's got his quarterback, and that's the number one thing you need. And everyone else, he'll fill in around it and see what happens.
I mean, that's all your depth, all your competitive depth.
I mean, no one has depth anymore. That's the whole the whole
thing. There's depth, and then you had 61 out of what, 90 something.
Yeah,
you lost 2/3 of your team to the transfer portal, and you've only replaced 1/3 of them.
And listen, like I don't want this to sound like I'm coming at the fans, but it's the fans across college football. Like it's not just like one individual fan base, and they have a reason to be frustrated with the current system, especially whenever you look at the rules, because like really the NCAA hasn't really put forth much. But I do think, and I mentioned this earlier, they look at college football and how you're constructing your team from top to bottom, still in the light of what it was like 2015, going back even further. Like I know a lot of people like want to go back to the way college football was in like 2007, like just throwing out arbitrary years. But it's one of those situations where also I don't think injuries have ever been more important. Like you cannot sustain injuries in college football now more than ever, just because we go back to people can leave after 1 year. So you can't really stack the talent. And so if you start to have some injuries to that too deep that really pile up, you don't have anybody else that can step in. And that's whenever it's really going to come back to bite you. And that's just something we're seeing more and more of. But like, I know a lot of people were frustrated with how the season ended for Tennessee, and then rightfully so. I mean, to lose like that to Vanderbilt is something you never want to see. But I do think some people were sooner. They were just pulling the panic button even sooner, the situation play out and the portal. Because again, just because the portal period ends for when players can go into the portal, there's still guys that are going to be coming out later as far as committing elsewhere.
It's a marathon, not a sprint. You're not going to get your whole team in 7 days.
Now, like I said, I feel a lot better than I did 48 hours ago. And we still got some work to do. I would like some clarity on the quarterback situation. Hopefully we'll get some more on that here in the next few days. But
yeah, that's number one now.
Yeah.
The good news is, even though you don't have that quarterback in place, most likely, you've not seen a lot of your skill position guys transfer out.
Yeah, that's true.
Who's the only skill position guy? Well, we had the Alabama transfer. He left, and as well as Peyton Lewis.
Yeah, but
all the key guys are still there.
Yeah, Jefferson never even
he never saw the field.
I don't recall him even having a target, much less a snap.
Yeah.
There's a couple quotes from Rick Barnes postgame.
Sure these are uplifting?
Oh, yeah. First one on Nate Ament. He played with, and I quote, "He played with a really good purpose today, I thought. He kept it simple. Actually, when he turned it over, he reverted back to some of the things he did. But overall, I thought he had a really, Nate's going to be fine. I've said it all along. I don't know. I'm sure some people have gotten on him, but I wouldn't trade Nate for anybody. He's a lot tougher than everybody knows." Then he goes on. I was proud of Nate and his mindset today. We were too. Like I said, I think that was if there was one positive takeaway from this game, it was that Nate Ament showed us a little more. Still work to do, but it was not a free fall, based on what we've seen in some of the past games. And then conversely, he said about JP Estrella, we need more out of JP. We really do. And then he said we also need Jalen Carey to want to be better on the other end, not just get excited about offense. And this one, and I think we would all wholeheartedly agree, he's seeing what we see. We are not tough enough yet as a team when things aren't going our way to know how to fight through it. And I thought that summed up today for sure. It felt like when some adversity came, the wheels came off, man. And
they don't blow their back up like last year's bunch would.
No, it's just so odd to see it that way. But that's what today was like, man. That was pretty frustrating. Pretty frustrating. Let's take one last accounting of live chat and everything else. I think we've covered everything. No calls on the horn at this point. So real quick, we got NFL football coming up, starting in about an hour, which I'm excited about. Maybe not so much that first game, right? Rams and Panthers.
Yeah, it's a 10-point spread.
I don't know. Xavier Legette rode to the stadium on his horse, Dollar Bill.
He's awesome. He's awesome.
He's a fun character.
You wouldn't catch Eric Berry anywhere near horse.
Packers Bears tonight should be a war, though. I'm looking
that
forward to
is
that.
So excited.
It's going to be sub-zero or near it.
Fair weather, windy.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
And then a full day tomorrow, of course. But
It's Monday Night Football. It's
Yes.
just wall-to-wall this weekend.
No doubt. Hey, I want to thank our sponsor for today is SM Athletics.
Shout out to them.
Close partner to Fan Run Radio. We're right in the throes of high school basketball season, and before you know it, it's going to be high school softball, baseball, you name it. If you have uniform needs, but also conversely, if you just have a school that you rep, particularly in West Knoxville, and you want to get some of their swag, there is some very cool stuff here in the storefront at SM Athletics. They do a wonderful job, and it is always what I love about them and what I think is their calling card is, there's bigger companies out there, but you get treated like a number sometimes. These guys have great quality service, really personalized service, and they also have great products. Like I said, if you want to come in and check out some of the stuff they see, if you're in the Farragut, Bearden, Carnes, Catholic, and those windows, you want some swag, hats, sweatshirts, T-shirts, all that stuff, they got it all here. You can come and feel it, really good stuff, high quality. And then also, they can also do custom work for you, whether you're a church or a business or a team, travel ball, something like that. They can do it all for you. So again, come check them out. They're located 10625 Checkerboard Lane here in West Knoxville, kind of close to Fairways and Greens. You can learn more about them at smathletics.com. The phone number, area code 865-966-3434. Again, SM Athletics, appreciate them always helping us and keeping Fan Run Radio rolling right. Guys, any closing thoughts as we kind of wrap up today? Davey, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it sucks we lost, but there's bigger things out in the world. Like you look at Iran right now. Like, hey, it's you can't.
Yeah,
you just can't take it too much to heart, even when the Vols do suck. But I mean, it just goes back to you have to protect home court advantage whenever you do play at Thompson Bowling. So, like again, there's not many positives we can take from today. But outside of basketball, things are looking up whenever you take a look at the transfer portal and what Josh Heupel's doing with this team. I really do hope I wanted to say Tony Vitello, but Josh Elander. Once baseball gets going, because if this kind of continues and football ended the way it did, like I just don't want this to get toxic. Like, and we would always talk about, like these are the best of times for Tennessee athletics, and a lot of people are saying after the last year, like that's definitely no longer the case. I just don't want the bottom to just completely drop, and I don't think it will as long as Rick Barnes is there for the basketball team. But we need something to be like, all right, I still see a team that's on the upward trajectory. And I believe it was D1 baseball had us as the number 3 team in the country for that. So, and it's going to be here before you know it. But as it relates to basketball, we just got to take advantage come this week. And then Saturday, you got to win these games, man. And Bob, appreciate you joining us today. It's always a pleasure.
Oh yeah, man. No, it's been fun. Appreciate you too. Bear.
I mean, basketball, it's a long season. Try not to get too up or too down. Let's go out and get a couple of wins this week and then take stock. I'll be interested to see where we're at this time next week after the next couple of, the 2 home games.
Yeah.
So I feel like, it's probably never as good as we think it is. We are, and by the same token, we're probably not as bad as down as we are on the boys this afternoon. This is a piss poor performance today, no doubt about it. They know that. Barnes knows it. Just looking forward to them getting it corrected and get back to playing Tennessee basketball.
No doubt. By the way, somebody on the text box who lives in Chicago said it's actually not that cold by Chicago standards. Game time tonight, it looks like it's going to be somewhere around 30 degrees. However,
snow.
Yeah, chance of snow for sure.
Yes.
So
what's a wind chill coming off the lake?
14 mile per hour winds. That's actually not bad for there. That's but 52% chance of some snow at game time.
Lake effect snow.
Yeah,
Love
maybe.
Have either of you guys been in
Chicago?
No, in a lake, like around when the lake effect snow's going on.
No, have not.
Grew up next to Fort Loudon.
We don't get snow in Arizona.
Yeah, I grew up in Indianapolis. We'd get a lot of Chicago influence with snow and cold weather because we're about
That's
2.5 hours
cold, man.
south. But
It's tough.
but yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Walker.
Just final thought is I'm done overreacting to any game we lose on the road. It's going to be really hard to beat any team in this conference on the road outside of maybe an LSU who we don't play on the road, and then our 3 weakest road games are going to be South Carolina, Missouri, and Mississippi State.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we got to maybe win 2 out of 3, 1 out of 3 of those. The biggest thing, you just have to win at home. Like our resume is going to come from beating good teams on our floor, and those are going to be the games that matter. And if you lose on the road, it's tough, but that's just what this conference is going to be like.
Well said. Well said. I mean, look, as we wrap it up, we've got a lot to talk about going into next week, namely with the portal. Hopefully we're going to know more about a quarterback path forward here in the next couple of days. But basketball, again, 7 p.m. on Tuesday night. By the way, that day we'll be doing the drive and also the playbook for Fan Run Radio over at Smoky Mountain Brewery prior to the game. So come hang with us if you're local.
Grab a bite to eat.
Absolutely. And then another nooner next Saturday, but here in Knoxville against Kentucky. I love these noon games. I got to be honest with you.
They're nice.
Yeah, it's very nice. So look at how much time we have
You'll be
now.
at that one, correct?
Oh, yes. Okay. Without a doubt.
Bob lives for these games.
Absolutely. So, but to everybody's point, I think it goes without saying, this week is going to be very, very important to this team. They got to take care of some business because, as Walker said, and I agree with it, the road is not going to be friendly for anybody in the SEC, but most notably our guys who seem to wilt under the pressure a little bit, and hopefully that's going to change over time. Hey, listen, to everybody who checked in on the live chat and on the text box, a couple final thoughts here. Tim Dewberry says, thanks, guys. Baseball starts February 13th, softball February 5th, so just around the corner. Also, let's win these home games and try to split the road games for the basketball team. We totally agree. We appreciate everybody checking in with us, the callers we had as well. Got a big week lined up at Fan Run next week. Again, just with everything on board, we'll have a full load of live local shows with Talk Sports in the morning, Tony Basilio show at 11 a.m. daily, followed by the playbook, and then followed by us on the drive. And there will be VR happening as well. Davey, really appreciate you hopping on as always and spending some time and giving us some insight. Bear, Walker, appreciate all the work you do. To everybody out there, hope you have a great rest of your weekend. Enjoy the sports. We will be back here bright and bushy-tailed on Monday here in the Fan Run Studios. In the meantime, y'all take care. This is the Voluntary Reaction.